Sorry. Okay, I had it on twice. My bad, guys. Okay, so welcome everybody. This is day 2. This day explains this whole dimension. Seriously, because you're everywhere. Like, we were just doing a video of Relationship Tuesday, and I was like, squirrel and squirrel here and squirrel there, and that explains that kind of fourth dimension where you're just all over the place. Okay, that's kind of, so just don't mind me. Not to mention the energies today going on, guys. It's one of those days. Welcome to day 2. So dimensions workshop. Yesterday we went over day 1, day 2, not day 1, day 2, day 3. See, here we go again. Dimensions 1, dimensions 2, dimensions 3. And I think we can say that we're very familiar with those 3 dimensions. We've pretty much, maybe we weren't aware of the first dimension, but we've been aware of our awareness. You know, we've always heard our own selves talk, our narrator, right? So we've been aware. And then we've been aware of the duality because of all that, you know, good, bad, judgment, right? All of this that we've grown up with. And then the third dimension, I mean, we've been there, we've done that, we've lived that, right? We are tapping into, because you're here. I mean, I'm assuming if you're here, it's because you're tapping into that fourth dimension, or even fifth, etc. But we all do this. We all shift states of consciousness. And it doesn't mean that because you're in the third dimension and you're acting out of ego, that necessarily it's bad. You know, it just means you're in that game and you're playing it, and you're playing the game. You're learning certain lessons. You're doing things for a reason. Like, that's how we become who we become. You can't expect to be 5D and not also be 3D. Like, we are the first, we are the second, we are the third, we are the fourth, all the way up to God. Like, we are just different levels of it, and it's okay to shift between them all because they're all okay. They are all us. So let's move into what is this fourth dimension. Let's look at the whole overview. So there is no solidity in the universe. A form that seems solid is created by an underlying vibration that can change and increase. I can't believe this is day 2 without my glasses. I mean, I should have props. Let me see. No, don't worry. Do you know where they are? Yep. I'm struggling. Okay, so welcome to the fourth dimension. Many of us have been here a while now, but many more are awakening to this dimension. So here, our perception of before changes. This is where we have, you know, the you that you have always been. We know that person. We know that person really, really well. It's now tapping into the person that we're becoming that it makes it really difficult, because we're like, okay, who is this person? I'm used to the one that's all me, and now I'm feeling a little bit different, and this is kind of confusing, right? And so once we start changing and we start awakening to this, because it's just awakening to a remembrance, it's remembering a different realm, a different shift in consciousness. So, oh, much better. Thank you. So here we start looking at all our increased senses. It's like, wait a minute, I knew I had the 5 senses, but I didn't know I can really, really tap into them, or like they be so overwhelming that I would have sometimes issues with it. Now it's more like, okay, wait, there's a 6th sense that I can look at. What is this? And so we have an increased sensitivity to everything. Sound sometimes becomes too much. Light sometimes becomes too much. People become too much. We go to a place and it's like, oh, too many people. I need to go home. I want to be by myself. I need to let go of all that energy. It was too much of this, too much of that. Who can relate? I'm sure, right? Yeah, Heather's like, I'm driving, but I got my hand up because I can. So just be careful. We increase our intuition. We increase synchronicities, feelings, emotions, manifestations, a sense of purpose. all of this stuff begins to increase, and we just begin to have insights and ahas, right? We start feeling a vitality within us, a presence, a inner something, right? And we're like, what is this? This is more than what I thought. I thought I was just me, myself, and I was just me and my five senses. But now, I have a whisper of come here, turn this way. And then you find what it is you were looking for because intuitively you were guided. What is that? What is that, right? So we have cognition, we have clarity, perspective, a different way of looking at things. Again, we're raising our consciousness. So now we can see things from a higher point of view. 21st floor, Kasha Flex. Influence, perception, abilities, and skills. So all of this begins to go, oh, I have gifts that I didn't know I had. What is all this clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clair something, right? Like what are all these things? We begin to get intrigued because we're remembering that we have these gifts innately given to us. And we're just like remembering, we forgot, we've been conditioned, we've been trapped into this 3D matrix, into this world where we forgot that there's something above us that's also, connected to us quantumly, right? Through the ethers. So now we have these abilities, right? These skills that we know that we should learn more about because we know we have them inside, right? That's why we're being kind of pushed in this direction. Our touch begins to increase. So we're more hyper aware of, I can touch someone, I could touch you, right? I could touch him and feel where he has pain. And that is super cool because I'll go straight to it. And he's like, how did you know? I'm like, your pain called me there. Like, I don't know, right? Like it's magical. It's one of those things where, and look, I'm sitting here rubbing right there. These things that we just don't know how we know, but we do. And when it's like very synchronistic. So our smell begins to heighten. Now we're like, wait, I recognize this. Now we're thinking about things based on our senses because they're heightened, right? The sound is like more magical. It is more, sometimes too much, right? Sometimes we realize that there's different frequencies. I don't like that frequency. I'm turning the channel. So our senses are beginning to increase. And then when going from a very linear perspective, which is that 3D of time and space, and here we are, now we're going to many versions. We're going to many different worlds, many different beliefs, right? Many realities. So we have many lifetimes, many different possibilities, parallel worlds, etc., different timelines. We start to see how difficult the adjusting period can be because we're shifting. We're going from that me, here, entertainment to what the hell's going on out there? Why do I see numbers all the time? Like, who's sending me these numbers? Why are they appearing? Am I going crazy? Like, you for real start having these thoughts. Sorry. So, we're going from that 3D linear perspective to all that is, right? So now to think outside the box is to begin to perceive into the fourth dimension. We're stepping out of that box and we're looking from that cube and we're going, wow, there's many more boxes here. There's many more perspectives. I thought it was just me and my world in that purple little box. Now I realize, man, there's a green box and there's a blue box and there's a red box and an orange box and a purple box. Like, there's so many different other worlds. I thought that the reality was what I thought. Now I realize that, you have a different reality than what I thought. And you have a different reality going on because we all have different beliefs. We all have a different unique perspective, a unique world that we have created. So we've established that the third means to begin to, like, you're in the box, but now you're seeing beyond the box. So the box is the middle, right? Representing the third dimension. And once you're outside that box, we experience the 3D cubes or the events from 6 different sides. And it continues because everything is expanding. So here we have created many different possibilities. Someone so wrapped up in that of the third cannot clearly see beyond their point of possibility. Imagine you're so wrapped up into what's going on in your purple little cube world that you can't see what's happening in this like green side over here on the right towards the outside. You can't see it at all. You have no idea. You can't even understand how they see the things that they see. You have no clue. But if you were to step even outside further from all of these 4D dimensional boxes, then you can start seeing from a different perspective. So we're shifting from, let's look at this analogy, and I love it. And maybe now, we can see it a little bit different from a different perspective. Let's say that a table, right? 2D surface has papers on it covering the area. That's the 2D, right? And from the point of view of an ant who is on that table, there's no more room. Everything is covered. But then we introduce stacking the papers up and creating this whole 3-dimensional space, okay? So now there's room because there's this huge stack of papers. But then let's say that a higher intelligence, one that we can't perceive, takes the papers and puts them somewhere we can't see. And so we're going to call that the cloud, right? Everything goes to the cloud. Where the hell is that? Who the hell knows? In the Ethernet, right? Why is it called Ethernet? Because it's in the ethers. It's magical, but it's there, okay? So the papers are there. They're accessible. We can't see them, but we can get them when we need them. If you were that ant, you'd be like, what? Like magical, right? Because you were so used to just seeing from this perspective. But now as it grows, you're like, okay. And we just go on with it, right? Technology, right? He did a whole thing on technology, introducing things that now I can do a presentation with all of you at the same time, watching from different areas all across the world. And you're picking up what I'm saying, like now, like how, think about it, like through the air. So the now, this concept can be applied to all questions in the universe, right? This is the realm where everything is questioned and there are answers to everything. If you are being blocked by not seeing possibilities, you are trapped. There's still things that are blocking you from seeing, because possibilities are endless. We are the ones that get in the way of all those possibilities by putting blocks because of our fears, because of our conditioning. So here, we're not seeing things linear. We're not thinking in the past, the present, and the future. Here, it's all now. Past lives are now. Future lives are now. Parallel lives are happening right now. They're all moments of consciousness being played out. So think about a dream, and you're just everywhere, but you're also here, sleeping in the bed, but you're God knows where, right? So this is that whole experience of being able to go, okay, I am in the game, but I am also outside of the game. So if you were to look at this toroidal field, right? And you were to see that apple in the middle, and you were to be the person that's in the middle. Let's say your heart is that middle where the O is. And we are playing out this game within that plane of inertia of the atom, and everything that is happening here is also happening up there, down there, and all around. And everyone is connected to that. So when you start tapping into that connection, into that whole quantumly entangledness of our, how these soul families start to connect, how everyone is just magically brought to the right moment at the right time to experience a moment at this moment, right? Like we're creating something right now, and it's a memory. Could be a memory, could be erased, but it could be lasting forever, right? This is when you're having that spiritual awakening. That spiritual awakening really gets you to open your eyes and be in the now and go, wait a minute, there's more to life. So more and more people are awakening to this 4th dimension as we speak, as a society, as a whole. They're realizing that the world they used to think was real was really far from what we thought it was. Like, wait a minute, I thought that I can just all these things, the stuff that we've talked about in the QE Academy, the stuff that RL has gone over, all those truths. And you're like, wait a minute, I have to decondition myself because I really did fall for a lot of things. But that was a different reality. It's kind of like if you've watched that movie, help me here. The guy with the glasses. You put the glasses on and then Free Guy. It's like the 3D world, you don't have the glasses and you're just like living in whatever's happening, right? But once you have the glasses, it's like, oh, okay, I could see what's really going on. And the people without the glasses and the people with the glasses don't really talk to each other because there's a big difference. And you're starting to witness that in our reality, in our world right now. There's a very big split. There's a very big, like, okay, I'm noticing a huge dimensional shift, right? So we start off to feel somehow unsatisfied. What's going on? An unhappy feeling with our life. Like, wait a minute, I was running around in circles like a hamster wheel, but now I feel like I'm supposed to be getting off and doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I have this calling and I need to follow it. Like, what's going on? It's like you're being drawn towards the light. So not understanding what is happening to us, right? We then start getting in that place of huge confusion. Am I going crazy? Why is my life being flipped upside down, right? Remember, we ended off yesterday with what inspires you, because once you're getting flipped upside down, that thing that's going to hold you in place, that's going to ground you, is what inspires you. So you start feeling like something's missing. But the problem is we don't really know what it is. And this is where we receive our personal wake-up call. Like, hey, this is what you have to do. And it's like a ton of bricks falling on your head. Like, oh, I do feel aligned with doing this. I do feel happy doing this. I really enjoy doing this. And you start figuring out ways to do it. And it makes me think of you, Heather, right? Like, you have been kind of called to do energy work, to do healing, to help people, to serve others. And all this time you're in this transitional phase of, but what do I do with my old life? And I really want to become this person that does this, but how do I shift? And you're just taking it day by day and you're following your light. You're following your calling. First, we go through all these ascension waves. So this is the part where we're going to go over some ascension waves and then break them up into tomorrow. So ascension waves, the awakening process happens in several phases. And I know we've all experienced this because we kind of go up and then we fall back down, and then we go up and here we go, we're falling back down again. Man, am I ever going to move forward? But it's in waves, right? So simply because our physical body and energy system would not be able to handle a shift to the higher dimensional frequencies overnight. Our body, think about it, is so used to carrying energy, just emotions, thoughts, things that we don't need. We're trying to let go of this baggage. We're trying to let go of the things that no longer serve us so that we don't have this heavy weight, this density carrying us down, like energetic. We want it to be light. We want it to be high. We want to be high vibrational. And in order to do that, we have to go through the process of letting go of removing, the baggage. And that takes work. That's the part where we're like working on it. Those who are here, we are working on it. Like in the academy, that's what we do. We work on our own baggage and we how to let it go and how we go up and how we go down. And, it's the support that you get with that. And so it's gradual. Like, we're going through this so-called ascension waves, and they're felt and experienced on a mental, emotional, and physical ups and downs. And you're going to feel that physically, mentally, emotionally. You're going to feel it through all the ways. So these are the symptoms. Feeling as though you are in the present, a pressure cooker or an intense energy, feeling stress, you're adjusting to a higher vibration, and you will eventually adjust. So old patterns, behaviors, beliefs are also being pushed to the surface.
and there's a lot going on inside of you. Think about all the times when things come up that are from your past and you're like, why is this coming back up again? But it's because it's still in your system. You haven't really let go. You haven't really healed from it. So if it's coming up, it's for a reason. And this is the time that if you're going to shift and learn how to be into a more fifth dimensional state, you're going to have to do the work of letting go and looking at these things that you have suppressed. This is where the work comes in. So a feeling of disorientation, not knowing where you are, a loss of sense of place. You're not in 3D anymore. So as you've moved or in the process of moving into the higher realms, now you're like, I'm kind of lost. I don't know where I'm going. I took a leap of faith and I'm kind of flying and I don't know where I'm going to land, but I have faith and I know I'm going in a good place, right? But it kind of feels like you're in the air upside down dropping and you're like, I don't know where I'm going. It's fine. Kind of crazy feeling, right? So unusual aches and pains throughout different parts of your body. You could say it's old age, but sometimes these aches can come up that will trigger a memory. Like one time he was massaging me and he got deep in one spot. And as soon as he hit it, not only did I budge, but it took me to a memory of when I fell, when I was ice skating. And I'm like, like I had totally forgotten about that. Maybe I suppressed the pain. Maybe I felt some type of way. Maybe I felt stupid when I fell and I felt embarrassed because I was ice skating with a bunch of people in my school, etc. Right? Whatever it is, it triggered that to come up. So think about when you have aches and pains and when you touch them, whatever feelings and whatever thoughts or whatever memories come up, it's because it's there for you to look at. So you're purifying, you're releasing blocked energy that's vibrating at that 3D level so that it can go to that level that you're going to. So while you're vibrating in a higher dimension, your body needs to catch up. That's the work. That's the work you guys are doing. So number 4 is waking at night between 2 and 4 a.m. So much is going on in your dream state and you can't be here for long lengths of time. So you need breaks. And this is also the cleansing and releasing hour. So we've talked a lot about waking up at that time. I think it's kind of also like the numbers, a way for you to get there, like a way for them to get your attention. And when I say them, I just mean like yourself. It's a way for you to get yourself attention. So memory loss, a great abundance of short-term memory loss, and also vague remembrances of your past. So you're in more than one dimension at a time and going back and forth as part of the transition. You're experiencing a disconnect because it feels like a dream. Like, well, I remember this, but was that a dream or was that a memory or did that happen? It's like, who knows? It's all starting to blend together. Also, your past is part of the old and the old is forever gone. So being in the now is the way of the new way to go, being in the now, because it's shifting. You're shifting your vibration. So the best thing you can do is just be in the now. Does anybody have anything to say before we continue? Because you're welcome to spit out whatever. Michelle, seeing and hearing things. You're experiencing different dimensions as you transition, all according to how sensitive you are and how you are wired. This is what I think it was the first time we did the dimensions workshop that I was talking about this. And as I was talking about it, I got a frequency in my ear. And then I was like, oh my God, I have it. And then Michelle's like, I got it too in the same ear. And we're like, oh, we have to have this moment. And then I wrote about it in my book because it was epic. So it's really cool because you start hearing things, you start randomness that you're like, did I tune into the right frequency on this station or what? Because what's going on? Yeah.
Joanna, it's like how a lot of times during either Reiki Vibes Wednesday or Tarot Tuesday, or even Theology Thursday, where we're all like, something is very synchronistic between all of us on the call. And it's the coolest thing ever because like, you can't make that up. It's just pure magic. And it's so cool because we're like, oh my God, we're experiencing the same. We were talking about that. Da, 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 da.
At the same time. What time was it for you? What time was it? Yes, it happened at the same time.
So cool. So cool. I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Yes. And those are the synchronicities that show you that you're on not only the same wavelength with the people, right? Like we're on that wave together, but it also shows you that you're going on in the right direction. So let's look at the mirror. So you have a loss of identity here. This is where you look in the mirror and you're like, I thought I saw you, but I don't think I'm feeling that. Like, maybe I'm putting that out to the public, but inside, I don't know what in the world is going on. You lose your identity because your 3D is all about your identity, right? It's all about you. Now you're going, wait, how do I transition into others when I'm so used to it being about me? And a part of you feels like you're having an ego death and you're having to you're going through a death because you're having to say goodbye to the old you. And like that inner child is like, don't leave me. Like, we've been together for so long. Like, it's like this part of yourself that you feel like you're losing. So you try to access the old you, but it's no longer there. And then you may not even know who you're looking at in the mirror anymore. Like you've cleared much of your old patterns. You're now embodying much more light, and it's simple, more purified. It's more of that divine you. And it feels weird, but at the same time comforting. And that's why, okay, all is in order. Everything's okay. I kind of recognize this. It feels right, even though I don't know what it is. Then you have feeling out of body. You may feel as though someone is talking, but it's not you. This is our natural defense mechanism of survival when we're under acute stress or feeling traumatized or are out of control. Your body's going through a lot and you may not want to be in it. So you might want to have that whole out of body experience. Or sometimes really it could be something as little as you're standing right there, but you're really just tapped out. Like you're just not really paying attention at all. You're just zoned out because you just don't want to be there. The next one is deep sleep. Periods of deep sleeping. You're resting from all the acclimating and all you're integrating, as well as building up for the next phase. And I experienced this a lot. Like before, for example, this Saturday we have the solar eclipse going on in Taurus, and right before some huge like celestial something, I feel like the week before, and we're about to go into Mercury retrograde. So the week before, I'm like, okay, I need a break and I need to sleep and meditate and just really charge up because something's coming. I can feel like that next phase is going to require a lot of my energy. And so I need to like restore, I need to recharge. And deep sleeping is one of them. So speaking of sleeping, if you've watched Twilight and you notice she's sleeping because she's transitioning, when she wakes up, she has this heightened sensitivity to all her surroundings. She can sense everything way more. And that is what I'm talking about heighten your senses. The crowds, the noise, the foods, the TV, other human voices, various other stimulants are barely tolerable. It's like, whoa, no, too much. I need quiet. So you also get very overwhelmed and become very easily overstimulated. So you are now tuning up. So know that this will eventually pass. One of my friends, Stephanie, she'll ask me, you want to go this way? You want to go there? And I'm like, you know what? Ask me then, because it depends on my mood then. Like, I don't want to tell you yes. And then I'll ask her a billion questions. She's like, you want to go this place and this place? I'm like, okay, what kind of people are there? How many people are there? What's it going to be like? Blah, 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 blah. Like all these questions, just because I want to be able to feel comfortable and feel like I'm not going to go there and be like, this is too much for me, but that's where I'm at. And she understands that. So we're going to stop there for the 10. And then tomorrow we'll continue on. But for the PDF, where it has a bunch of questions, the exercises that we can focus on for awareness today is practicing saying no to yourself. So the ability to say no to yourself, to put off short-term
gratification for the long-term gain is an important life skill. So like a muscle, it is strengthened with exercise. And the more you practice saying no to small daily challenges, the better you can withstand major temptations and major challenges. So there's plenty of daily temptations. There's social media, there's junk food, there's gossiping, there's too much YouTubing or whatever type of whatever. Make a goal of saying no to 5 different temptations each day. It could be just putting your phone down for 1 hour. It could be as small as whatever it is, as long as it's doable for you and you don't feel like it's a struggle, just do it and see how much more aware you can be during that time that you're not tempted to do these other things. And then break visceral reactions. So a person with self-awareness runs on autopilot and responds with the knee-jerk reactions. A person without self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to assess situations objectively and rationally without acting on biases and stereotypes. So take a deep breath before you act, especially when a situation triggers anger or frustration. This gives you time to reassess whether your response will be the best one. So these are the 2 exercises for today. And then we put name 5 ascension symptoms you feel you're experiencing. So out of the 10, you may have experienced already 5, or you may still be experiencing some of those. So you have room to write that down as well. So does anybody have any questions? And does anybody feel like you completely can relate with what we went over as far as going from that 3rd dimension to now that 4th dimension of what the fuck?
Yes. Yes. So, oh my goodness, I am so impressed that I am understanding every single word you're talking about. It was, like I said yesterday, the first one was like in Chinese. It's like, what the heck? I don't understand. I thought dimensions was places and stuff. But yesterday, when you described each one of them, it's so much easier to understand. And knowing where I am and knowing that I can go, like you just started saying today, from one to another, because we are all and we're everywhere. So that makes sense. But just understanding this 4th one was like, oh my God, I'm in between the 3rd and the 4th, and in the 1st and the 2nd, but it's just,
you're getting to
I
understand
have no
yourself
words. I have
fully.
no words.
You're knowing your 3D self, but you're knowing all your other selves, because you're so much more than what you think you are. They make us feel like we're just here, but like we're everywhere, we're everything. That's why we can tap into everything if we number 1 believe, but number 2 understand, because our left brain is like, yeah, really show me. But that's why we do this, so we can show you that it's possible.
And like Michelle said, we don't make up all these things that we go through in the Q8 Academy. I mean, that is magic. It's like, I wish more people could feel that and be or perceive and live through what we're going through, because it is real, and it makes you feel awesome. And I want to be there all the time, but I still need working on my baggage, and clearing all of the shit that I have, and when I get there,
you're doing the work. You're doing the work.
Yeah. So thank you. Awesome. This is great.
So proud. Awesome. Yay. Heather, what'd you think?
I just want to say too that like everybody's in a different place. Like we all talk about this and how wonderful it is, but it's like we all have like these symptoms that you're saying, and the like hearing that frequency that you and Michelle have heard, like those things come with time. It's not like you just overnight or there, like I went to like you said, you have to do the work, and I went to an intuition class a few months ago, and I was just sitting there doing the dishes one day, and in my mind, I was like talking to my grandma who had passed about a year ago. And I'm thinking, am I really like talking to her, or is it in my mind? Because these things happen. Like, I'm trying to explain. Sometimes we're just not really in tune. We don't know if it's our mind or if it's reality, and so I'm having a conversation with her saying I love her, but I'm thinking this is probably in my mind. But I just took this intuition class and she said, listen to your thoughts. And so I did. Well, my daughter has this ability that she hates, where she hears like things. And my grandma started talking to my daughter saying te quiero. And my daughter said, oh my gosh, I just heard a voice in my ear say te quiero, And I was like, oh my gosh, she couldn't get to me. Like, so she went through someone who had more ability. Like, I want to say the blockages, there's still a lot of blockages that I'm working through. So what I'm saying is, sometimes you just don't know, like, you think it's just your mind, but if you just listen to yourself sometimes and listen to your thoughts and it could be something else, like we're so conditioned, and we've blocked so many things. It takes time, it takes work, it's not overnight.
Think of the spectrum of what we can see and what we can't see, right? We can only see a certain amount of the spectrum, and then everything else we can't see. And the same thing goes with what we can hear, right? We can only hear but so much, but then dogs can hear more. And
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that it's not there. We just can't hear it. It doesn't mean it's not there, just can't see it, right? So when we start picking up on these things, because now we're clearing out the channel so that our Wi-Fi is more in tune and connected to all that is, and we're picking up random stuff from everything, it's like, where's this coming from? But it's not coming from your brain. It's coming from, again, the ethers everywhere else. And then it's our interpretation when it comes through our brain that we're like analyzing and going, wait, where did this come from? Was this me? Was it something else? Because we doubt ourselves, and we don't really have that relationship with our higher self that you begin to have a conversation constantly, and and recognize the difference. And then you're like, oh, we're just having conversation, and it's like, no problem, you can tell that it's a difference. But yeah, everything that you're saying is like all of these the transitional phase.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you think it's your imagination, it's usually spirit. So you're just like, because you don't understand, because you're just like, how is this happening? You question it. And so usually, like, so that conversation you were having with your grandmother.
Yeah. Because I didn't tell my daughter. She just told me, and I was like, okay, I get it now. Like, it's so cool. And we all have had these experiences, like these moments where we say, whoa, like those synchronicities, and we just kind of chalk it off as like, it was just coincidence.
And those are daily miracles. Those are what you take as little miracles throughout your day and just enjoy, because those are the signs, those are the messages, and it's so cool. It's so awesome. I love it. I'm so excited because my son and I, we were talking a couple nights ago, and he was sharing with me, I was talking to him about my grandma, and that I was calling on her and everything. And he's like, oh yeah, she sits over in the corner in my room. And I'm like, what? He's all, oh yeah, she comes through the corner. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. So it's so cool, because it's not something he typically will talk about or share. But when we were talking about her, then he's like telling me, I'm like, that's awesome. So
that is super awesome. Larry was just saying, that's why you need to go through your higher self all the time. Then you will trust.
Yes. Yes.
Very
and
good
Larry
point.
also was sharing, after he did Reiki 1, he would automatically go to where that person needed it. So it's so cool.
Yeah.
What those senses that you begin to open and then become aware of. It's great.
Higher awareness. And it's scary for some people because again, it's that unknown. And everything that is unknown has been conditioned to fear. You're supposed to fear the unknown, right? Versus trusting it, because we fear things outside of us can hurt us, which disempowers us. When the things outside of us, like, first of all, like, we have the power because we are also the things outside of us. So it's all just like a reflection, really. And if there is something outside of us that you fear, it's really just putting a mirror there and going, what is that? Because there's something within you that you're fearing, that you need to let go of. So even as a whole, we do that a lot, right? We just tend to fear the unknown. And that's what we're trying to get out of here. We're trying to step out of fear and we're trying to step into love. So yeah, did you have something to say before we went?
No.
Oh, okay. So that was basically the fourth dimension. And, we're going to go more into the magicalness when we start tapping into the fifth dimension, etc. And then I'll break down a kind of like a viewpoint of all the way back to 12, God completion. So, thank you guys so much. Tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern time, the replay will be up. And if you need the PDF, it's in the comment section in the QE Academy under workshops. So thank you guys. I appreciate so much that you are here, that you are taking it in, that you're doing the work. You change yourself, you change the world. So thank you. Yay.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.